How's it guys, Munash here, and today we have some rank 3 sorcerer gameplay. So I took it to rank 3 sooner than I thought I would because I actually got a chance to use an alliance war yesterday. Opponents placed a Magneto boss and she's just really good for that matchup, so I figured let's just take her to rank 3 now and see how she does against this boss without boosts. Because this is during war season, so we try to do our wars itemless, or at least with minimal item use. Also, during off-season we have a little bit more freedom on which path to take, so I picked path 4 for today because it had a lot of sorcerer-friendly matchups. Also, it's a path that I rarely do, so it was a bit more interesting for me. Okay, so I'm jumping into war with Quake, Sorcerer, and Doom. I used Quake for 1 fight, used Doom for 1 fight, and Sorcerer took 3 or 4 fights. Yeah, it was 3 fights plus the Magneto boss. So first up we have lag with ebb and flow missed inputs and enhanced frame skips. Yeah, the game just decided to misbehave again, but really we first have a stealth Spidey with steady build up fury and running on fumes. So when I get 3 debuffs on me, he's gonna get a pretty strong fury passive. So this is one fight where I can't play that aggressively because of running on fumes. Basically like long distance relationship, except this one applies a fatigue debuff instead of a weakness, so I gotta just keep my distance to make sure I don't get too many of those on me. So before I even start the fight, usually what I like to do with Sorcerer is use the pre-fight for Econ's Ingenuity, just so I can power steal from the get-go, which will allow me to get to that first special 1 pretty quickly. So usually I can throw the special 1 within my first 10 hits and before the blessing expires, but stealthy evaded, so I couldn't play aggressively enough to do that. So I just parry heavy twice to switch blessings, get back the control blessing, then I can drop a special 2 and apply the slow debuff. So no more evade, and that just makes an easy fight even easier. Now I just gotta make sure I don't get more than 2 of those fatigue debuffs on me, otherwise he will go unblockable. But even if he does go unblockable, it's not that difficult to deal with if he can't evade. The nice thing about Sorcerer special attacks is they don't actually have to make contact to apply those effects. So I could be halfway across the screen and throw a special 1, first hit whiffs, the rest of it gets blocked, and he'll still get slowed or armor broken. And the special 1 has some pretty good pushback and recovery time, so they won't be able to punish you after they block it. Okay, so we're about to take down Night Monkey. Not the quickest fight, although I did have to play a little bit passively at times. Like over here I have 2 fatigue debuffs on me, so I start backing it up quite a bit. Just want them to fall off before I start dropping combos again. Alright, now time to end this. Should be 1 or 2 more combos. Bait a special 1 and then 1 special 2 should take him out. And that concludes my very first fight with rank 3 Sorcerer. Not bad. So now we're gonna move up to Wasp, and I'm not gonna spend too much time on this fight because it's not a Sorcerer fight. I did use Doom and Quake on this fight. Yes, I used both of them on this fight, and you'll see why just now. So she has steady build up fury and long distance relationship, so pretty much the same nodes as last time, except this time it's weakness instead of fatigue. So I chose Doom for this fight because he's shock immune, so even if she does evade, there's pretty much no harm to it, because you don't take enough of that shock damage. So it's a pretty easy and safe fight with Doom. It's one of those fights that I don't need to think much about. I can just go in with Doom and just start slapping her all over the place, and usually she just goes down without much worries. But this time I throw a special 2 and game crashes. So yeah, I got kicked out and had to redo the fight, lost the attack bonus, lost 50% health on my Doom. So this time I decided to go in with Quake, just to preserve a bit of health on my Doom, and this did not go so well because, well, I essentially sacrificed Quake to preserve Doom. So I'm just gonna skip most of the fight and get to the important part because, I mean, it's a Quake fight. Nobody wants to see that apparently, especially after the past week with the gauntlet, so I'm just gonna skip to the disaster that took place during this fight. So 20% left, a pretty clean fight so far, but then she throws a medium attack from out of nowhere because enhanced frame skips. And because it's Wasp, she just has to chain a heavy attack to that 1 medium attack, which means guaranteed crit for 17k, and now I'm down to 25%. All because of those few split seconds where the game decided to teleport her left foot into my face. Lovely stuff. The other thing that annoyed me was just how subtle it was. Like, you could literally miss it if you blinked. But anyway, now we're in section 2. Still on path 4, and now we have a Captain Marvel with Steady Ball Up Unblockable and Spry. So instead of getting that sweet passive Fury when she has 3 debuffs on me, she's gonna get that sweet passive Unblockable, which is probably worse to deal with. And they place Captain Marvel on this node because she can armor break quite easily. As you can see, I got armor broken on my very first parry, and the chance increases when she's in binary. But at the end of the day, it's still Captain Marvel, so you can use pretty much any good energy mystic against her, and she'll just melt away. It's actually quite cheesy. Like here, I'm just throwing special ones and that's pretty much it. I'm not throwing any basic attacks, I'm not parrying, it's just essentially one maneuver. Hold block, dash back when she comes at you, and then release that special one. I'm basically Hyperioning this fight. That sounded weird to say, Hyperioning. Whatever. It's a very easy fight with Sorcerer. So she goes down, and now we're gonna move on to the last fight in section 2, which is gonna be Silver Surfer with Steady Ball Up Unblockable and Crumbling Armor. So this one is a little bit more interesting because he is very shiny. So you gotta be careful if you're playing in a wall-lit environment because certain lights can reflect off his body and just blind you. That surfboard as well is also quite lethal. It's got some pretty strong penetrating properties, as you can see, and he did not even ask for consent. What a sly dog Surfer is. Okay, but jokes aside, this fight is a bit more interesting because Surfer is able to apply multiple armor breaks with one heavy attack. If he has the cosmic buff, of course, because he converts that into 3 armor breaks. So if you can keep nullifying that or just don't let him throw a heavy attack, then it's a pretty simple fight. I mean, it's almost like he doesn't have nodes. Crumbling armor on its own does little to nothing. In fact, it can be advantageous because it's just good willpower healing. And this was the one fight I took in war that had suicides, so it was never gonna take long no matter who I use. Just keep baiting that special one and watch him hurt himself. So at the end, I actually did allow him to throw a heavy attack with the cosmic power buff. That applies 3 armor breaks and he goes unblockable. But still not an issue as long as you don't get hit, of course. Alright, so now we have one more fight, which is gonna be the big bad Magneto boss. I decided to use an advanced power boost because I literally had 8 of them. I had one about to expire, so I figured I might as well. I don't know how I got that many, but apparently I didn't use that many last season, so they just kept on piling up. So I'm gonna start with the Blessing of Econ, which will allow me to place a slow debuff as soon as the fight starts. I have done this fight without the power boost, and if you are doing it without, then you basically have 3 options to finding your openings. You can bait and punish a combo ender, so that second medium or 4th light attack. If you can recognize it quickly enough, then you can just punish afterwards. Or if you have the patience, you can just wait for 1 bar of power, so you just gotta play a bit more passively. Maybe hit his block so you don't get cornered, and eventually you get that 1 bar, and then you can throw that special 1 or special 2 when you have the desired blessing. Then the third option is to simply just intercept. So yeah, the advanced power boost just makes getting set up for the fight a bit easier and quicker. So just having that slow debuff on him makes the fight so much easier to manage because you can just punish his heavy attack without worrying about him being unstoppable. Then you get that extra thick regen, which just allows you to take so much damage on the block. I can block pretty much anything he throws at me and the health loss will be minimal. I mean, that special 2 with extra block penetration from his SIG ability can easily do over 10,000 damage just from blocking it. And I'm gonna block it every time. In fact, I'm even gonna bait it because it's just generally easier or safer to punish compared to the special 1. Then the rest is just dropping combos and special attacks. Special 1 whenever you don't have the aura, or in this case MSID UI stat attribute format null aura HUD. That'll just take care of the adaptive buffs, which will feed your power with dispersion, and it can also nullify the unstoppable, although that'll mostly be the responsibility of the slow debuff. And the special 1 can also be used if you just really want to apply a certain debuff or get that regen. But ideally you would like to use the special 2 more, because it pauses all the effects for a few seconds, which helps you to stack them so you can do more damage or get more regen. So it's pretty much just out between special 1 and special 2 for this fight. You can use the special 3 to store a rune permanently so you can apply whatever effect you want whenever you throw a special attack, but it's really not necessary because you don't need full uptime on slow, it's just for punishing heavy attacks. So yeah, Sorcerer just systematically dismantled this Magneto, and it's nice to know that you can take this fight pretty comfortably without boosts. And it's funny because I actually did this exact same fight, as in I fought this exact same Magneto last season in War. I used my 5-star Sorcerer, boosted and everything, and I died after having a very peculiar hitbox interaction. I made a video on it, it was fun to make, but yeah, so this was kind of like me getting my... not really revenge, because I get over things very quickly, more like redemption. But it's off season, so who cares? The lesson for today is Sorcerer is awesome, and I'm very happy to have her as a rank 3 6-star. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, thank you for watching, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.